In today's video, she's going to break down terms about money you need to know if you want to avoid being poor. Let's hear what she has to say, and then I'll give my thoughts.
Explaining finance words like you have brain damage. Cookie cost $1 yesterday. Cookie cost $2 today. Same cookie, money buy less cookie now. Inflation. You say, give me money now, I pay back later. APR is the extra money you owe for saying later. Big number bad, small number good. You give company $1, now you own a tiny part of company. Company does good, your tiny part worth more. Company does bad, your tiny part worth less. Your piece is very, very small though, like a crumb. You want to borrow my toy truck? I say, okay, but leave your teddy bear here. So I know you're going to give me my toy truck back. The teddy is collateral. If you don't give me my truck back, you're not getting your teddy bear back.
The funny thing is, I love this sort of video, and I already know that there's going to be so many people that hear this and be like, well, this is silly, this is stupid. But the reality is there are so many people out there that are financially stupid. They are financially dumb. And it's one of those crazy things. I don't know, maybe because I read Proverbs every single day, and I always say a proverb a day will keep the folly away. But it's like in the book of Proverbs, when you read it, it's talking a lot about the fool and the scorner, and it's using all these different terms. And a lot of the time, especially when you start reading Proverbs for the first time, you are the one that is the fool. The stuff that it says the fool does is the one that you may relate to most, and that the goal is to go from being the fool to being the wise person, the person who is skillful, is diligent in his business, the one who is basically using his gifts to be brought in front of important people, kings, etc. Right? What she's doing is gold on so many different levels. She's breaking down key financial terms that we all need to know, especially if we want to avoid being broke. You see, there's so many people out there that are struggling financially. And you know what they do? When someone starts breaking this stuff down to them and saying, look, these are the things you need to know. You need to understand what inflation is. People, and this is what's crazy. People understand what inflation is because you have so many people complaining about the fact that, oh, well, I can't buy as many groceries as I could before. That's inflation, right? Why is the price of these things going up? That's inflation. So they know enough about it to complain, or they can complain about what the thing is, but they're not taking the next step to actually learn about why this happens, how it happens, and what you can actually do, or how you can position yourself to be better off, to prosper, right? I've been saying this to my wife for years, right? We're not going to be those people that just complain about prices going up. No, we need to be selling some stuff so our prices can be increasing. I'm going to say that again. We need to be selling some stuff so our prices can be increasing too. You see, because the reality is prices just go up. You look back to, I can't remember how much a bottle of milk was when I was young. Nowhere near what it is today, right? Prices go up. Why? Because as time goes on, prices in an economy increase, they go up, and that's what you call inflation. So the way she's breaking this stuff down, this is what you need to do, right? This is why it irks me. And I used to be this sort of person, but this is why I hate people I hate when people who are very educated, they're smart, and they don't simplify their message so many people can understand it. It's a skill, and it's a skill I continue to work on every single day, to be able to take deep, difficult concepts and shrink them down in a way which is simple, where anyone can understand it and anyone can relate. This is why I love this sort of stuff that this lady's doing. She's talking as if she's speaking to a baby. You see, when we speak to a baby and people do all that stuff, goo goo gaga, all that kind of stuff, it's cute, right? But when you start doing this same thing that we do in a different vertical to someone who is a financial baby, all of a sudden they get so sensitive and they're like, well, no, don't talk to me like I'm an idiot. Well, if you are a financial idiot, what do you expect? This is how you can actually understand the message. So I'm going to go back to Proverbs. The first proverb in the Bible, Proverbs chapter 1. Wisdom is talking about, look, I'm crying from the street corners. I'm screaming out from the gates of the city. All of you who are foolish, come and listen to me. You know, there's some people out there who are going to be so offended at the fact that wisdom is calling them a fool. They won't actually realize and be like, you know what? I am actually a fool. I need that wisdom. Let me actually go. Don't be one of those people who's offended by what this lady's saying in the video. Just realize, take an assessment and see, where am I actually on this scale? Am I someone who understands what inflation is? Am I someone who understands what collateral is? You know what's so funny, right? You know when she talked about, she mentioned APR, right? And the moment I saw that, I just thought automatically to interest, because that's what it is, right? The interest is going to be over the space of a year. But you know what's so significant? And she said, the bigger the number, that's bad. The lower the number, it's worse, right? Obviously, if you're going to have a higher interest rate, that means when they borrow you $100, for example, they're going to expect a whole lot more with a bigger number. Let's say the interest rate is 10%. Well, let's say it's 20%. They give you $100. In 12 months, they expect you to give them their $100 back plus an extra $20. If your interest is 1%, well, okay, they're going to borrow you that money, and in a year, they want you to give back $100 plus $1. So the reason why this is so significant is because we live in such a debt-laced society. So many people are interested in credit, right? Buying stuff on credit. I mentioned this in a recent video, right? Our washing machine recently broke. We bought a new washing machine, and I was saying this to my wife when I was paying for the washing machine. I was like, you know what's so crazy? There's so much marketing and advertising about the APR. There's so much advertising about finance. Yeah, just break it up into 3 payments, into 4 payments. You know why? Because these people that are selling you these things, they don't only want the principal, the money that you're going to pay for the actual item. They don't mind. In fact, they would prefer you to buy it on credit, break up the payments, and have interest. Why? Because they're going to make more money. They're going to make the principal, plus they're going to make whatever the interest rate is. So they could make, let's say, for example, $400 on a washing machine, plus an extra $40 or $50 because you decide to break it up over parts. No. The funniest thing is, right, I was saying this to my wife yesterday. Our car insurance for the year is about to end in a couple of days. And you know what's funny? As insurance companies typically do, about a month before your insurance is about to run out, they'll send you a letter and they'll be like, well, look, your insurance is going to run out, and here's the new premium that we are going to give you. And as long as you don't do anything, things will continue. That's typically what happens, right? Now, what's funny is because something happened, which has maybe happened once or twice in the past. The quote that they gave me for the next year was cheaper than the previous one. That rarely happens. At least that rarely happens in my experience, right? And people that I'm familiar with. But you know what's actually funny? Normally an insurance company, when you're doing car insurance, they'll give you like whatever it is, right? This is the price. And then this is the price if you break it up into monthly payments with interest on. And I was saying to my wife yesterday, I was like, you know what's actually crazy? That not only that they gave us a cheaper quote, the fact that the interest quote, if we broke it up into payments, which is obviously paying every single month, the difference isn't really that much. And it was funny to me because I was like, wow, that just shows you, at least it showed me, how much this company wanted us to stay. Because they did something which insurance companies don't normally do, give you a lower quote. And secondly, they made paying monthly not that much more harder, or not more harder, not more difficult than if I was going to pay in a lump sum. That's their way of saying, please stay. You know why? Because we've been driving for X amount of years, right? I've had my license, I think, for like 16 years. My wife's had her license for like 14 years. We've never had incidents, right? People have, I think maybe one or twice, people have crashed into us, but we've never had to like have a claim. So companies know, especially after a year, right? Because normally what we would do anyways, you have to search around, you have to look around. It makes so much sense. But the point is, this is why they always say companies who have like banks and institutions, financial institutions, love to lend out money. They love to lend it out, especially to people who have money. Why? Because they know, especially them, they're going to be the ones who can obviously take out a lot, but they're the ones who can also pay it back. But I'm saying to my wife, as small as that gap is, I'd still rather just pay it off in one go. Because once the payment is done, it's done. And then at the same time, even if it's little, that can fund one of our date nights. That can fund some treats, I don't know, for a month or a couple of months, right? That could fund so many different things that could pay for our phone bills for a couple of months. Notice, this is why you have to be wise. This is why you have to go through the same phase which we all go through. We all start foolish in various different areas in life, and we all become wise if we want to. So don't see these lessons or these things as, you know what, this person is trying to take the mickey out of me, or this person's trying to make me look like a dummy, right? Maybe just think about the fact first and foremost. Am I someone that should be made fun of at this particular point in time because of the decisions I've made in the past, which don't need to determine or guarantee your present or your future? And also, am I the kind of person who has been foolish in the past, but that doesn't determine whether you're going to be wise today or wise into the future? And if the answer to that is yes, I've been there in the past. I know it doesn't feel good, but you know what feels even better? Knowing that and acknowledging that, you know what, I've been a fool in the past, and I'm going to choose today to be wise. And then continuing to choose today to be wise every single day you get by God's grace. And beginning to see your wise decisions, your wise discipline, your wise commitments start to pay you back more and more into the future. So don't be so sensitive and think, they called me a fool, they called me a dummy, they called me a financial idiot, whatever. Let the truth set you free. And I promise you, you start lining up the things in your life which aren't working with the word of God, and things will totally change. Guys, don't forget to like it, don't forget to subscribe, and as always, don't forget to react righteously. God bless.